The book of Numbers is wild. Like, it is absolute chaos. I'm reading it. Well, I've actually just finished reading it and studying it. And it is literally a high stakes survival drama in the desert. And, they're going on like they're complaining about God, about their manna. And, there's giants, which is really cool. But then there's a talking donkey. Yeah, a talking donkey. And then I'm just chilling thinking this was like some boring book. And then this happens and it's just like census after census. And it's like, bro, but stick with it. So, yeah, I want to talk about this book and let's get into it. I will be honest, I started reading the Book of Numbers with the enthusiasm of someone opening their tax return. Like it was just not there. I love spending time in the Word every day and studying and learning, but really, census. But somehow, between the complaints and the chaos and a talking donkey, which I'm still not over, this book is crazy. Like, it is wild. Like, it's not just like about the details of the desert, you know? There's rebellion and miracles, leadership breakdown. Like, it's all in there. It's like a thriller disguised as a census. Like on a quick glance, the Book of Numbers is just like a holy spreadsheet with it goes so much deeper. It's like a masterclass in spiritual survival. The wilderness wasn't just, yeah, okay, they were wandering through the desert for this long, like, yay, they got their freedom. But it's like a big transition. There was uncertainty and identity formation with all of this. Like they had no idea who they were anymore. Like, yeah, God's chosen people, but would they ever make it to the promised land? Like, who knows? We also have to remember that they were wandering for 40 years. Like, what should have taken them like weeks took them 40 years. That's a long time for a lot of spiritual growth. And even though it was like draining for us, like to read that for a while, imagine what it's like. I mean, it opens with the senses and closes with one. And I think that's actually super important. And there's a lesson about rebelling as well. Now, I love a good rebel, but they were always complaining about food, complaining about their leadership, complaining about God's plan. They complained about Korah's rebellion and the spies and I don't think any of this was random. It was a constant cycle. Like they had so much unaddressed fear and it always turned into rebellion. And I can raise my hand to God and say, like, yeah, that is exactly where my rebellion always came from. And I have had multiple of them. And then you've got Moses and his leadership arc. Like that is a whole thing in general. Now, I am a big Moses stan, but he goes from being patient to this frustrated leader striking the rock. And in the end, he doesn't even get to go to the promised land, but God takes him up so he can see it. And it's like, ooh, burn. Well, even, striking that rock. And yeah, sure, he repented for it and everything, but he never got to the promised land in the end, did he? So it's like even the strongest leaders crack when they carry burdens like alone. And reading about the bronze serpent as well, that actually took me quite a lot of studying to figure out what that actually meant. The people are complaining again, and the snake appears. God tells Moses to make a bronze serpent and lift it up. And healing comes from looking at the very thing that harmed them. And I was like, bro, like what? What is that even supposed to mean? And I can't remember where I found it, but it says transformation often begins when we face what we fear instead of avoiding it. And I was just like, you're hitting me in the feels today, dude. Like, and even then, they always had to look up towards him, towards God. That is where they should be looking. You don't look up at him and you're going to get lost. You're going to wander. You keep your eyes on him and he'll keep you on the right path. That's how it did it for me. I don't know if I'm wrong. Don't quote me on that, but that's just how I saw that lesson. And then what was even crazier to me was that there's a pagan prophet hired to curse Israel and ends up blessing them repeatedly instead. I was just like, hold up, I actually read two passages about four times just to realize that that is what I was reading. That's when the talking donkey gets involved, and I was like, yo, bro, I'm tripping. When God has spoken blessings over your life, no outside voice can override it. That was just kind of the main lesson of that. Even though it took me even a long time to get there for that. And even silly little things like the camp layout. Like, why did we learn about that camp layout? One, it was in a cross shaped formation, and yay Jesus. But also with the tabernacle in the middle, the presence of God is at the center of their identity and their movement. So where you place God in your life determines the shape of your journey. God needs to be the forefront of everything, and that is what defines your journey on anything. And what's even better is that this book ends on hope, despite being a census. And when the book ends, a new generation is standing ready to enter the promised land. The failures of the past didn't define their future. And God is always preparing you for the next step, even when the current step feels absolutely stupid. And I have felt that so many times. And yeah, this was one wild ride going through that book. And it didn't actually take me as long to get through it as I thought it would. I was expecting spreadsheets, and honestly, I actually thought I was going to skip it. But I came out with this absolutely chaotic story that, oh, yeah, bro, it was wild. Identity, rebellion, grace, hope. With the main lesson being that even in parts of life that are boring and you're just getting through them, you need to get through it, because that is where God is shaping you the most. That is where He's doing some of His biggest works on you. How was all of your experience when you read Numbers? If you read Numbers, comment down below. Let me know, and let me know your favorite book of the Bible. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I will see you next time.